Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln penny coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're diving into a coin that's been making waves in the numismatic world, the United States 1 cent from 1976. At first glance, it might seem like just another coin from the bicentennial year, but wait, this particular penny could actually be worth far more than its face value. We're talking about a potential value of $58,000. Yes, you heard that right. Stick with me as we explore why this 1 cent piece from 1976 is so valuable and what makes it so special. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a penny, how could it possibly be worth that much? Well, the truth is, the 1976 1 cent coin holds a lot of secrets that make it a treasure for collectors. First, let's take a look at why this coin even exists in the first place. In 1976, America celebrated its bicentennial, the 200th anniversary of the United States. The country was buzzing with pride, and everything from stamps to coins was redesigned to commemorate the occasion. For the penny, the famous reverse design featuring the Lincoln Memorial remained, but it also had a special twist, a unique, bicentennial design on the back of the half-dollar, quarter, and even the 1 cent. However, the 1976 1 cent coin didn't have the same prominent bicentennial mark, and that's where the uniqueness starts. While most of the 1976 pennies were minted and used as everyday currency, a rare variety emerged that would later capture the attention of collectors: the error coin. Let's break down the significance of these rare errors. Minting errors are incredibly important in the world of coin collecting. Sometimes, during the production process, coins get struck with flaws that make them different from the standard issue. These errors might seem like imperfections, but they're exactly what collectors look for. In the case of the 1976 1 cent coin, a particular minting error made it stand out, and it's this error that gives this coin its incredible value. One of the most sought-after versions of the 1976 1 cent coin has a doubled die error. This is where the image on the coin appears to have been struck multiple times during the minting process, causing the numbers and letters to appear doubled or ghosted. For instance, if you look at the date, 1976, you might see a slight doubling effect, making the date stand out more than usual. This doubling error was relatively rare, and it immediately caught the attention of collectors, raising the value of these coins significantly. But that's not the only thing that makes this penny valuable. The rarity of the 1976 1 cent coin is another factor that plays into its high worth. In general, many of these error coins are hard to come by because they were produced in limited quantities. Most of the 1976 pennies were circulated heavily and are now in poor condition, which makes those in excellent or uncirculated condition even more valuable. So if you come across a 1976 penny that looks like it just came out of a fresh roll, you might be holding onto something very special. Another reason for the 1976 1 cent coin's value is the demand from collectors. As coin collecting has grown in popularity, certain coins from particular years or with certain features have seen a massive increase in value. The 1976 1 cent coin is one of those rare finds. It's not just about the error itself, but about how it fits into the larger picture of American coinage, especially from a year as historically significant as 1976. Let's not forget the appeal of the story behind the coin. This penny is more than just a piece of metal, it's a snapshot of a pivotal time in American history. A coin that could be worth $58,000 today was once just a humble penny that passed through countless hands, from the streets of America to the pockets of people unaware of its future worth. And here's where it gets exciting: the condition of the coin plays a major role in its value. If you happen to find one of these 1976 pennies in nearly perfect condition, especially one with the double die error, you could be sitting on a coin worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, of dollars. In fact, coins like this have sold for $58,000 at auctions, making it one of the most lucrative pennies in history. So, how do you identify these coins? The key is to carefully examine the date and the lettering on the coin. Look for signs of doubling, especially on the 1 in 1976 or in the Liberty inscription on the front. It's subtle but noticeable if you have a trained eye. Keep in mind, though, that not every 1976 penny is going to be a winner. You'll need to find one that's been well preserved and has the distinct doubling error, and that's not easy to do. If you think you have a rare 1976 1-cent penny, it might be worth getting it appraised by a professional coin grader. A coin's grade is determined by its condition, and that will ultimately affect its value. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, knowing how to spot valuable coins and understanding the significance of minting errors is essential to maximizing the worth of your collection. There you have it, the 1976 1-cent coin is more than just a historical artifact, it's a potential goldmine. Whether you're a casual collector or a dedicated numismatist, the rarity, unique errors, and increasing demand for this particular penny make it an incredible find. And with a potential value of $58,000, it's no wonder that collectors are on the lookout for this hidden gem. If you've got a stash of old pennies or you come across a 1976 coin, take a moment to inspect it closely. You could be holding onto a rare treasure worth more than you ever imagined. Top 2, we've got something truly exciting for you, the 1964 United States 1-cent coin. Now, this may seem like just another penny, but trust me, it's much more than that. A 1964 1-cent coin could be worth far more than you think. In fact, we're talking about a potential value of $67,000. Yes, you heard me right. Stick around because you won't want to miss the fascinating details of why this coin is so valuable and what makes it such a hot item in the world of numismatics. Now, at first glance, a 1964 penny might not seem like something you'd give a second thought. After all, the 1960s was a decade full of historic events, and 1964 was a significant year in American history. It was the year the United States saw major changes in both politics and culture, and the penny minted that year reflects a lot of what was happening in the country. But what sets this coin apart from others of the same year is its rarity, and in particular, the possibility that you may have one with a minting error. The first thing we need to talk about is the coin's design. The 1964 penny features the famous likeness of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's portrait on the obverse side of the coin has become iconic over the years, and the reverse showcases the familiar wheat stalks, which were part of the design until 1958. So, right off the bat, the 1964 penny is a key piece of U.S. coinage history, representing a time of transition. But here's where things get really interesting. Although the 1964 penny was minted in high quantities, only a small number of them carry specific characteristics that make them worth much more than the typical penny. This is where we get into the world of rare coin varieties, and when it comes to the 1964 1-cent coin, the most valuable ones are those with specific minting errors. Minting errors are exactly what they sound like, mistakes that happen during the coin production process. And while errors might seem like imperfections, they actually make a coin highly desirable in the eyes of collectors. Some of the most valuable 1964 pennies feature what's known as a doubled die error. This happens when the coin is struck multiple times, causing the image on the coin to appear doubled or blurred, especially on the date and the lettering. If you look closely at a 1964 penny with this error, you may notice that the 1 and 9 in 1964 look unusually thick or doubled. This doubling is subtle, but it's a key indicator of value. The same doubling effect can sometimes appear on Liberty or the "In God We Trust" inscription on the obverse, making the coin even more unique and valuable, but it doesn't stop there. The 1964 penny is also known for its potential to have what's called a floating roof error. This rare mistake occurs when the minting process leads to a misalignment, resulting in the top portion of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side of the coin appearing to float above the columns. This error is much rarer than the doubled die and is highly sought after by collectors. If you find a penny with this mistake, you've struck gold, quite literally. Now, let's talk about rarity. While millions of 1964 pennies were made, the key to their value lies in how many of them remain in exceptional condition and with the unique minting errors we've discussed. Over time, most of these pennies were used and worn down through everyday transactions, making uncirculated or near-mint versions incredibly rare. Finding one of these coins in excellent condition, especially with a doubling error or a floating roof, can be like finding a needle in a haystack. And here's the thing, coin collectors are always looking for rare, error coins to add to their collections, and demand for these coins can drive up their prices significantly. As the years go on, these rare coins only become more valuable. A 1964 penny with a minting error in pristine condition could fetch a huge price at auction or from a serious collector. So, you're probably wondering, how much could a 1964 1-cent coin really be worth? Well, if you have one of these rare error coins, particularly a well-preserved one with a double die or floating roof, you could be sitting on a small fortune. In fact, some of these coins have sold for as much as $67,000 at auctions. Yes, you read that correctly, a single penny, worth just 1 cent when it was minted, could now be worth $67,000 if it's the right kind of rare. If you think you might have one of these valuable 1964 pennies, the next step is to take a closer look. Check for signs of doubling on the date or lettering, and examine the reverse for any floating roof errors. If you spot anything unusual, it could be time to get your coin professionally graded. Coin grading is essential because it assesses the condition of the coin, which plays a major role in determining its value. The higher the grade, the higher the price. For any coin collector, the 1964 1 cent with the right errors can be a game changer. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting to build your collection, keeping an eye out for these rare and valuable pennies could pay off big time. Remember, the world of coin collecting is full of hidden treasures, and sometimes, those treasures are tucked away in the most unexpected places. So, next time you're going through your old coins or you find a 1964 penny in your change, make sure to give it a close look. You just might have a rare and valuable piece of history in your hands. Top 3, we're diving into the world of the United States 1-cent coin, specifically the 1983 penny. At first glance, it may look like just another penny from the 80s, but this coin could actually be worth far more than you think. Stick around, because we're about to uncover the hidden value of this seemingly ordinary penny. You might be sitting on a small fortune, a potential $57,000. That's right, $57,000. The 1983 penny is often overlooked, but the truth is, this little coin is part of an interesting chapter in U.S. coin history. By the early 1980s, the United States had already made some major changes to its coinage. Specifically, in 1982, the U.S. Mint made the controversial decision to switch the composition of the penny from 95% copper to 97.5% zinc, with a thin copper coating. This change was mainly driven by the rising cost of copper, and it drastically altered the look and feel of the penny. However, in 1983, some of these new zinc pennies were struck with a significant error, and this is where things get really interesting. There are 1983 pennies that were struck on copper planchets instead of the new zinc planchets. That's right, a 1983 penny that was supposed to be made of mostly zinc ended up being made of copper, just like the pre-1982 pennies. This is a huge deal because copper planchets were supposed to be phased out by then. Why does this matter so much to collectors? Well, it all comes down to rarity. When this error occurred, only a small number of these copper pennies were actually produced. The vast majority of 1983 pennies were made with the new zinc composition, but those few copper pennies are incredibly rare and highly sought after. This makes them a prized possession for serious coin collectors who are on the hunt for minting mistakes or anomalies in U.S. coinage. Now, let's talk about why this copper error penny from 1983 is so valuable. The key here is rarity, condition, and the fact that this coin represents an extremely rare and specific mistake in the minting process. Imagine finding a penny that was produced during a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning from copper to zinc, and somehow, a few coins slipped through the cracks and ended up being made from the old copper planchets. It's a historical anomaly, and that rarity drives its value sky high. But not just any 1983 copper penny will make you a fortune. The condition of the coin plays a massive role in its value. Most of the copper 1983 pennies that were produced were used in circulation, which means they were subject to wear and tear over the years. However, if you find one that's in excellent condition, or better yet, uncirculated, you could be holding a rare gem that's worth much more than face value. Even pennies with some wear but still in decent condition can fetch a good amount, but the ones in pristine, uncirculated condition are the ones that truly make collectors go wild. Another factor that increases the value of these rare copper pennies is the level of demand in the coin collecting community. Error coins, especially those that involve significant mistakes like this, are highly sought after because they're so unique. As more collectors get into the hobby and prices for rare coins continue to rise, the value of the 1983 copper penny keeps climbing. Now, you might be wondering, how do I spot a 1983 copper penny? Great question. The best way to identify this error is by carefully inspecting the weight and color of the coin. Copper planchets are heavier than the zinc planchets used for most 1983 pennies, so one quick test is to weigh the coin. A standard 1983 zinc penny weighs about 2.5 grams, but a copper planchet will weigh around 3.1 grams. So, if you have a 1983 penny that weighs more than the usual 2.5 grams, you could very well have a copper error coin on your hands. As for the appearance, a 1983 copper penny will have the characteristic reddish-brown color of pre-1982 pennies. If your 1983 penny looks like the typical zinc-coated penny, then it's likely not the one you're looking for. But if it has that rich, coppery shine, it's worth doing a little more investigation. Here's the exciting part: if you're fortunate enough to find one of these rare copper 1983 pennies, it could be worth as much as $57,000. That's right, this small, seemingly insignificant coin could fetch a price that most people would never expect from a humble penny. So, how do you go about determining the exact value of your 1983 copper penny? Well, it's all about getting your coin graded by a professional. Coin grading is the process by which experts evaluate a coin's condition, and this is a crucial step in determining its market value. A coin in pristine, uncirculated condition will be worth far more than a coin that's been worn down over the years, so make sure to get it properly evaluated. The 1983 copper penny is one of those rare finds that could make any coin collector's heart race with excitement. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, keeping an eye out for this unique coin could change your collection forever. With its fascinating history, minting error, and potential for an incredible payout, the 1983 copper penny is a true treasure waiting to be discovered. Top 4, we've got something truly fascinating to talk about: the United States 1-cent coin from 1992. At first glance, this may seem like just another penny, but trust me, it's far from ordinary. If you've got a 1992 penny sitting around in your collection, or even in your change jar, you might be in for a big surprise. This coin could actually be worth a whopping $44,000. Yes, you heard that right, $44,000. Stick around because we're about to uncover what makes this coin so special, and why it's catching the eyes of collectors everywhere. Now, let's take a step back in time to 1992. The world was changing, politically, socially, and culturally. But the 1992 penny stands out for reasons far beyond the events of the year. This coin is part of the Lincoln Memorial series that's been a staple of U.S. coinage for decades. If you've ever looked closely at the 1992 penny, you'll notice the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, with the Lincoln Memorial gracing the reverse side. But it's not just the design that makes this coin so interesting, it's the rarity and the potential errors that could make it so valuable. The 1992 penny may seem like it was produced in large quantities, and for the most part, that's true. But there's something that sets a small percentage of these pennies apart from the rest: a rare minting error that has sent shockwaves through the coin collecting world. What makes the 1992 penny so valuable is that it is one of the years when a significant error occurred during the minting process. This error is known as the close AM variety. If you're not familiar with what the close AM error means, let me explain. Most 1992 pennies feature the wide AM variety, where the letters A and M in America are spaced relatively far apart on the reverse side of the coin. But for some 1992 pennies, a small number were struck with the close AM variety, where the letters A and M are noticeably closer together. This small difference is what makes these pennies so rare and highly sought after by collectors. You might be thinking, how can I tell if I have one of these rare 1992 close AM pennies? It's actually quite easy to spot once you know what to look for. The key to identifying this error is examining the AM on the reverse side of the coin. Look at the space between the letters. If the letters are very close to each other, almost touching, you've got yourself a close AM penny. If they're spaced out more like usual, then it's a standard 1992 penny. Now, why does this matter so much? Well, it all comes down to the rarity of this error. There weren't many of these 1992 close AM pennies minted, and most of them were overlooked by people at the time because the error is so subtle. However, in the world of coin collecting, small mistakes like this can have a massive impact on a coin's value. Collectors go wild for minting errors, and the rarer they are, the more valuable they become. So, let's talk about how much this rare penny could be worth. If you find a 1992 penny with the close AM error, and it's in great condition, maybe even uncirculated, you could be sitting on a small fortune. These coins have been sold at auction for impressive amounts, with some reaching a price of $44,000. That's right, a single penny that's over 30 years old could be worth a staggering amount because of this small but important error, but that's not the only reason why the 1992 penny is special. Even if you don't have the close AM variety, the 1992 penny still holds a unique place in history. It was the last year the Lincoln Memorial design was used on the reverse side of the penny. In 2009, to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the U.S. Mint introduced a new reverse design featuring a shield. So, the 1992 penny marks the end of an era in U.S. coinage, making it a piece of history in its own right. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can I make sure my penny is worth as much as possible? The condition of the coin is a huge factor. If your 1992 penny is in excellent or uncirculated condition, it will be worth much more than a coin that's been worn down over time. Coins with clear, sharp details and minimal damage are more valuable, especially when it comes to rare error coins. So, make sure to handle your coins carefully and keep them in a safe place to preserve their value. If you think you might have a 1992 penny with the close AM error, it's worth getting it professionally graded. Coin grading is an important process that evaluates a coin's condition, and it can significantly affect its market value. A well-graded coin will fetch a higher price when sold or auctioned, so getting your coin assessed by an expert is definitely a good idea. There's one more thing to consider when it comes to the 1992 penny: its appeal to collectors. The coin collecting community is always on the lookout for rare and unique items, and coins like the 1992 close AM penny are exactly the type of find that gets collectors excited. With the price of rare coins continuing to climb, owning a 1992 close AM penny could be a smart investment, especially as more collectors seek to add it to their collections. So, there you have it. The 1992 1-cent coin is more than just a piece of history, it's a valuable treasure that could be worth a lot more than you ever imagined. Whether you've got a coin collection you're building or you're just casually checking your change, keep an eye out for that close AM error. If you find one, you could be holding onto a coin worth $44,000. Top 5. We've got something incredible to talk about: the 1984 United States 1-cent coin. At first glance, it may seem like just another penny, but trust me, this small coin holds a secret that could be worth a huge fortune. If you've got a 1984 penny in your collection, you might be sitting on something worth $55,000. Yes, you heard that right, $55,000. Stay with me because we're about to dive into what makes this penny so special and how you can spot it for yourself. The 1984 penny may seem like an everyday coin, but it's a piece of US coinage that has something rare tucked away within it. So, let's rewind for a second. The 1984 penny was produced as part of the iconic Lincoln Memorial series, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. This was a familiar design that had been in circulation for many years, and for the most part, the 1984 penny was minted in massive quantities. But here's the catch: some of these pennies have a unique, very rare error that makes them incredibly valuable. We're talking about the double die error. This happens when a coin is struck more than once during the minting process, causing the image or text on the coin to appear slightly doubled. In the case of the 1984 penny, the most noticeable doubling happens in the word Liberty and sometimes the date, 1984, itself. So, if you look closely at the letters, you might notice that they appear thicker, slightly doubled, or even blurry. This error is subtle, but it's one that makes the 1984 penny highly sought after by collectors. Now, you may be wondering, how can I tell if I have one of these rare 1984 pennies? Great question. The first step is to carefully examine the coin for any doubling on the word Liberty and the date, 1984. If you see that the letters look doubled, blurry, or out of place, there's a good chance you've got a coin that could be worth much more than face value. But remember, this error can be a bit tricky to spot, so take your time and check it thoroughly. What makes the 1984 double die penny so exciting to collectors is its rarity. While these coins were minted in large numbers, only a small percentage of them contain this minting error. And as time goes on, more and more of these pennies have been lost or worn down through circulation, making uncirculated or near-perfect versions extremely valuable. If you've got one of these rare pennies in great condition, you could be holding onto a hidden treasure, but it's not just the double die that makes the 1984 penny special. As with any rare coin, the condition of the penny plays a massive role in its value. A penny that has been well preserved and kept in excellent condition is far more valuable than a coin that's been heavily circulated and worn down over the years. So, if you have a 1984 penny that looks almost brand new, it could be worth far more than its original face value. Here's where things get really interesting. As the coin collecting community continues to grow and more people become interested in rare and valuable coins, the price of the 1984 double die penny has skyrocketed. While a regular 1984 penny is worth just 1 cent, a well-preserved, error-free penny could be worth a lot more. In fact, a 1984 double die penny can sell for as much as $55,000 at auction or through private sale. That's right. This small penny could be worth a staggering amount of money, and it's all thanks to the subtle but impactful minting error. So, the next time you're going through your old coins or checking your change, make sure to pay close attention to your 1984 pennies. If you spot a double die error, you could be sitting on a coin that's worth more than most people would ever expect from a penny. Now, let's talk about the value a little more. If you do happen to find one of these rare 1984 double die pennies, getting it professionally graded is a smart move. Coin grading is the process of evaluating the condition of a coin, and it can significantly impact how much your coin is worth on the market. A coin that's in mint or near mint condition, with no visible damage or wear, will always be worth more than one that's seen a lot of action in circulation. For anyone looking to make a serious profit from a rare 1984 penny, it's worth getting the coin authenticated and graded by an expert. This way, you'll have a better idea of its true value, and you'll know if you've got a high-quality specimen that could fetch a large sum. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but isn't this error rare? How likely is it that I'll actually find one of these pennies? Well, you're absolutely right, this error is rare, which is exactly what makes it so valuable. But that doesn't mean you won't find one. Coin collectors and treasure hunters around the world are always on the lookout for rare finds, and if you keep your eyes peeled, you could be the one to discover a 1984 penny that could change everything for you. The 1984 double die penny is a perfect example of how small errors in the minting process can turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary find. In the world of coin collecting, it's these unique and rare errors that capture the imagination of collectors and investors alike. So, if you've got a 1984 penny, it's definitely worth taking a second look to see if it might have this rare doubling error. In the end, you never know what treasure you might find in your pocket change or tucked away in your collection. The 1984 double die penny is just one example of how an everyday coin can be hiding incredible value. So, the next time you come across a 1984 penny, take a closer look. You could be holding onto something worth $55,000. Top 6, we're diving into something you wouldn't expect, the 1981 United States 1-cent coin. At first glance, this might just seem like another everyday penny, but believe me, this little coin might just be hiding a treasure worth a staggering $59,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $59,000. Stick with me because we're about to uncover exactly why this 1981 penny could make you a fortune. The 1981 penny is part of the long-running Lincoln Memorial series, featuring the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. This design has been circulating for decades, so you might think that a 1981 penny is just another typical coin, but there's a twist. It's not about the design, it's about a very special and rare error that's hiding within a small number of these pennies. Let's start with a bit of background. The U.S. Mint produces millions of pennies every year, and in 1981, they produced more than 14 billion of these coins. So, on the surface, a 1981 penny might seem pretty ordinary. But as with many rare coins, it's the subtle details and minting errors that turn a regular penny into a collector's dream. And that's exactly what happened with a handful of 1981 pennies. These particular coins have an error that's making collectors go crazy, the double die error. A double die error occurs when a coin is struck twice by the die, resulting in a doubled image on the coin. In the case of the 1981 penny, this error can be spotted on the lettering, especially on the word Liberty and the date, 1981, itself. The letters on these error coins are slightly doubled, making them appear thicker and sometimes even blurry. This subtle error is what gives these coins their rarity and value. You see, only a small number of 1981 pennies were struck with this double die, and finding one in good condition is a serious jackpot for collectors. You may be wondering how you can spot these rare 1981 double die pennies in your own collection. Well, it's all about the details. The first thing to check is the word Liberty on the obverse of the coin. Look closely, and if you see a faint doubling or a thicker than usual appearance to the letters, you might have one of these rare coins. Similarly, take a close look at the date, 1981, on the coin. If the digits appear to have a blurry or doubled look, that's another sign that you found a rare gem. Now, here's where it gets really exciting. Not every 1981 penny with a double die error will be worth the same. The key factor here is the condition of the coin. If the coin is in pristine, uncirculated condition with sharp details and no wear, its value can skyrocket. Coins that are in mint condition, especially ones with a well-preserved double die error, are far more valuable to collectors. The reason for this is simple: coins that are well-preserved are rarer, and the value of a rare, pristine coin can go way beyond its original face value, and that's exactly why the 1981 double die penny is worth so much. Because only a small fraction of the 1981 pennies had this error, and most of them have been used and worn down over time, finding one in excellent condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. This rarity is what makes these pennies so highly sought after by collectors, and it's why they can fetch such a high price at auction. So, what are these rare 1981 pennies actually worth? If you have a 1981 penny with the double die error and it's in excellent or uncirculated condition, it could be worth as much as $59,000. That's right, $59,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe, isn't it? But in the world of coin collecting, even the tiniest error can make a massive difference in value. That's the magic of these rare coins. If you're lucky enough to find one of these rare 1981 double die pennies, getting it professionally graded is a must. Coin grading is the process of evaluating a coin's condition and authenticity. A professional grading can significantly impact the value of your coin, especially if it's in mint or near mint condition. Grading your coin can also help you establish its true value in the market, making it easier to sell or trade if you choose to. Now, I know what you might be thinking: how common is it to find one of these rare coins? It's definitely not easy. While millions of 1981 pennies were minted, only a small percentage had the double die error, and even fewer remain in excellent condition. So, finding one is definitely a rare event, but it's not impossible. Many coin collectors spend years searching for these types of coins, and sometimes, it's a simple case of luck when you stumble upon one. But the rarity doesn't stop there. The 1981 penny is also special because it's part of the last series of pennies to feature the Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse. In 2009, the U.S. Mint introduced a new reverse design to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. So, the 1981 penny is one of the last coins to feature this iconic design, which makes it a piece of U.S. history on top of being a rare and valuable find. In the world of coin collecting, the 1981 double die penny is a prime example of how a small error can lead to a huge payoff. Its rarity, combined with the potential for finding one in excellent condition, has made it one of the most desirable coins in the market. So, if you've got a jar of loose change or a collection of old pennies, take the time to sift through them. You never know when you might stumble across one of these valuable treasures. Top 7. We have something truly remarkable to talk about: the 1973 United States 1-cent coin. While most people probably see this penny as just another common piece of currency, there's actually more to this small coin than meets the eye. In fact, this unassuming penny could be worth a shocking $69,000. That's right, $69,000, and in this video, we're going to reveal why this particular penny is so special, what makes it so rare, and how you can identify if you have one in your collection. Let's dive into the history of the 1973 penny first. This was the year when the United States Mint continued to issue pennies featuring the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The Lincoln Memorial design had been in circulation since 1959, and in 1973, this penny was part of the regular coinage produced for daily transactions. But here's the thing: while millions of 1973 pennies were minted and circulated, only a small fraction have something truly unique, an error that makes them incredibly valuable. The 1973 penny you're looking for is one that features a rare minting error, the famous double die error. A double die occurs when a coin is struck more than once by the die, causing the design to appear slightly shifted or doubled. In the case of the 1973 penny, the error is most noticeable on the word Liberty and the date, 1973. If you look closely at these areas, you might notice that the letters appear thicker or have a doubled effect, as if they were struck twice. This subtle error is what gives the 1973 penny its unique value. Even though millions of pennies were minted in 1973, the number of coins that were struck with this doubling error is minuscule. So, finding a 1973 penny with this rare error is like discovering a hidden gem that could make you a fortune. Now, how can you spot a double die on your 1973 penny? It's all about the details. Start by examining the word Liberty on the obverse of the coin. If the letters appear doubled, or you notice a slight shift in their position, you might have one of these rare error coins. The same goes for the date, 1973. If you see any blurry or doubled digits, you've likely found a coin that's worth a lot more than its face value. Here's where things get even more exciting: it's not just the error that makes this coin valuable, it's also the condition of the coin. In the world of coin collecting, the condition of a coin plays a massive role in its worth. The more well-preserved and free from wear the coin is, the higher its value. A 1973 penny with a double die error that is in near-perfect or uncirculated condition can fetch a pretty impressive price, especially in today's market where rare coins like this one are highly sought after. And this is where the magic happens. A 1973 double die penny in mint condition can be worth a jaw-dropping $69,000. Yes, that's right, this little penny could make you a small fortune. Imagine finding a penny worth that much. It's not just about the rarity of the error, it's also about how few of these coins remain in top condition. making them even more valuable as time goes on. Now, you may be wondering, how likely is it that I'll find one of these rare pennies? Well, it's not easy, but it's certainly possible. Since only a small number of 1973 pennies were struck with the double die error, and even fewer have survived in excellent condition, finding one is incredibly rare. But that's what makes it so exciting. There are still collectors around the world hunting for these coins, and some people have had incredible luck finding them in the most unexpected places. So, if you have a jar of loose change or an old collection of coins, it's definitely worth going through them to see if you have one of these rare finds. Another important aspect to remember is that professional grading can significantly impact the value of your 1973 double die penny. Coin grading is the process by which a coin's condition is evaluated by an expert, and it plays a crucial role in determining how much a coin is worth. A coin that is graded as mint state or uncirculated can see its value skyrocket compared to one that is heavily worn or damaged. If you think you might have a 1973 double die penny, getting it professionally graded can help you understand its true market value and ensure that you're getting the most out of your find. It's also worth noting that these error coins have become more popular and desirable over the years. As the coin collecting community grows, so does the demand for rare and unique pieces. This has driven up the value of coins like the 1973 double die penny, making it an even more valuable find for those who are lucky enough to come across one. So, what makes this particular penny so interesting in the grand scheme of coin collecting? Well, aside from its rarity, it's also a part of a time in U.S. history where coinage was transitioning. The 1973 penny was minted during a period of economic change in the country, and finding coins from this era in top condition is becoming harder and harder. That makes the 1973 penny not just a rare coin, but also a piece of history that collectors are eager to add to their collections. Finding a 1973 double die penny isn't just about the potential windfall, it's about the thrill of discovering something rare and valuable. These coins don't just sit in your collection as ordinary pennies, they tell a story and give you a direct connection to a time long past. So, if you've got any 1973 pennies lying around, now's the time to start checking them out closely. You never know, you might be holding onto a coin worth $69,000. That small penny could change everything for you, and who knows? You could be the next lucky coin collector to strike it big. Top 8 and last rare coin for you, we're diving into a hidden gem from the United States, the 1993 1-cent coin. At first glance, this may just seem like another penny from the 90s, but believe it or not, this small coin could be worth an astounding $45,000. Yes, you read that correctly, $45,000. Stick around because we're going to break down exactly why this 1993 penny could be a game changer for collectors and coin enthusiasts alike. Now, you might be thinking, how in the world could a penny from 1993 possibly be worth so much? Well, let me tell you that it's all about a rare and highly sought-after error that occurred during the minting process. The 1993 penny isn't just any ordinary coin. There are some specific minting flaws on certain pennies from that year that turn them into true treasures. In 1993, the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies, as they do every year, with the familiar Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse and President Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse. But among all the coins that were minted that year, a small number came out with a critical error: double die error. This error occurs when the coin is struck twice by the die, which leads to a doubling effect in the design. For the 1993 penny, you can spot this error most clearly on the word Liberty and the date, 1993, itself. When you look closely, you'll see that the letters and numbers appear slightly doubled, or even blurred in some cases. This double die error is incredibly rare, and it's what makes the 1993 penny so valuable. While most of the pennies minted that year were produced without any issues, a few ended up with this striking and noticeable defect, which makes them incredibly sought after by collectors. The double die error on these pennies is subtle but still noticeable enough to make them stand out in the world of rare coins. So, how do you identify if you have one of these rare coins? Start by taking a good look at the obverse side of the coin, specifically the word Liberty. If the letters appear doubled or blurred, you might just have a 1993 penny with the double die error. Similarly, examine the date, 1993, carefully. If you see any doubling or distortion of the digits, then you have yourself a coin that could be worth a small fortune, but the rarity doesn't end there. What truly drives the value of these pennies is their condition. As you know, coins are typically used in circulation, which means that over time, they get worn out and damaged. The more worn a coin is, the less it's worth. However, if you're lucky enough to find a 1993 penny with the double die error in mint or near mint condition, its value can soar. A coin that's well preserved is much rarer than a worn-out one, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for these pristine examples. In fact, if you find a 1993 penny with a double die error in excellent condition, it could be worth a staggering $45,000. That's right, this small penny could potentially make you a lot of money. It's amazing to think that a coin that was likely sitting in your spare change for years could be worth so much, just because of a simple minting error. Now, you might be wondering, how common is it to find one of these 1993 pennies with the double die error? To be honest, it's pretty rare. Although the US Mint produced millions of pennies that year, only a small number came out with the doubling effect. And of those, even fewer have remained in good condition. Most of them were circulated and ended up with scratches, dents, or other wear, which makes the well-preserved examples even more valuable. So, if you happen to have one of these error coins sitting in your collection or hidden in a jar of old change, it could be worth more than you ever imagined. It's also important to note that getting your coin professionally graded is a great idea if you believe you have one of these rare pieces. Coin grading is the process by which an expert evaluates the condition of a coin, and it plays a huge role in determining its value. A coin that is graded as uncirculated or in mint condition will always be worth more than one that's heavily worn or damaged. So, if you think you found a 1993 penny with the double die error, it's worth taking it to a professional grader to get it assessed. And here's an interesting fact: error coins like these are particularly valuable because they're unique. Unlike standard coins, which are produced in large numbers with little variation, error coins stand out because they were produced under unusual circumstances. This makes them incredibly appealing to collectors who are looking for rare, one-of-a-kind pieces to add to their collections. The appeal of the 1993 double die penny isn't just about the potential money it can bring. It's about owning a piece of history. The 1993 penny, in particular, is from a time when the US Mint was still producing pennies in large quantities, and the transition from traditional minting methods to more modern techniques was well underway. Collectors love coins that capture these moments of transition in US currency production, and this 1993 penny does just that. So, if you're a coin collector, it's time to grab your magnifying glass and start checking your 1993 pennies closely. If you find one with a double die error in mint condition, you could be looking at a rare and valuable coin that could bring you $45,000. Can you imagine finding that small coin in your collection or hidden in your change jar? It could be the discovery of a lifetime. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more exciting coin discoveries. Who knows, your next coin hunt could lead you to a treasure worth thousands. Keep searching, and happy collecting.